Hey guys, Retro Reviews here again with another Transformers video review. Still working on Cybertron figures here, and I'm getting ready to work on some of the Beast Planet, the Jungle Planet figures. So going to go ahead and start off with this little guy, which I forgot to adjust my camera for prior to doing. So this little guy is named Backstop. This is one of the very few Autobots from the Jungle Planet, or actually sided with the Autobots, more or less. They were unaffiliated up until Megatron and company went to the Jungle Planet to search for the Jungle Cyber Planet key. So, that being said, here is Backstop in his little rhino form. He is a Scout class figure, and as you can see in my hands, he is very small, and he doesn't hide away very well, but, yeah, so here he is. He doesn't really do much in his rhino mode. He can kind of swing his head side to side. That's just due to robot mode articulation, and then his legs are on ball joints here, as well as a hinge right here. So you can move them around, but I just feel like getting him in a one static position is the best thing for him in his mode. There's not really much room to move anything in to get him posed well in this mode. For play features, really all we have is the Cyber Key gimmick. And this is another one of those figures where it works really good in one mode and is almost completely useless in another mode. So we're going to go ahead and take a Cyber Key here. This is probably not the one that he came with, but I'm not sure. I just have all of my Cyber Keys in a bag, and I haven't taken the time to research which keys go to which figure, and quite frankly, it doesn't matter at this point, since those codes do not work on the Transformers website anymore. So, what you do with the Cyber Planet key for this figure is you stick it in the back of his rhino head. Then as you do that, his rhino horn extends out. Just enough to give him a little bit more leverage, but it's honestly, it's a decent gimmick. It works really well for what it needs to do, and most of the Scout class figures didn't really integrate a Cyber Key gimmick into the actual toy itself very well. Scattershot is a good example where, honestly, it's just his backpack, and if you were able to remove his backpack, it would not harm the figure in any ways. It would still transform the same exact way. So, and then you have like Overload or Overhaul, where his entire torso is the Cyber Key gimmick, and we do have the little bit of the problem where all it is just firing off a missile, and that sets back his vehicle mode, because then we have a giant tail of a missile that makes it very easy to fire, sticking out of the back of his truck with absolutely no other purpose. But anyways, back to the Scout class Backstop review. Size comparison, you already saw him with the two Scout classes from the line in robot mode, but here he is with a deluxe class from the 2020s. This is the Siege Prowl, and honestly, it feels about the same. But as we're about to see here in a minute, this thing is not worth a deluxe, and not like back then or now. This is a Scout class figure, so you get what you pay for. And even that being so, this is not the best Scout class figure that Cybertron had to offer. So anyways, going on with the transformation, we'll start by folding the tail up, and then folding this hand down, folding this hand out, like so, and then rotating it around, and then coming under here, unhooking the legs and pulling the whole waist section down. And then also, as you can see, both sets of legs, the front and back legs, are connected onto these assemblies. So you'll want to swing those assemblies down and then peg the legs together to get the right leg and the left leg. And then finally, take this piece, fold it up, and there is his head. And there is Backstop in his beast mode, or his robot mode. Yeah, I don't have much to say about this. Pretty much all the details that we saw in Rhino mode are still existent here. We can go ahead and try to get a look at that Gremlin head sculpt, but it's not gonna be easy. I'll actually have to lower the camera to get a good angle at this. Too far. There we go. As you see, he does have yellow painted eyes under that giant forehead of his, and he does have a molded in lip with some fangs sticking up out of the bottom. And articulation wise, it's again pretty useless articulation. This arm has 2 points of articulation. You can rotate it inward there and rotate it outward there, but you can also rotate it 360 degrees there. No head articulation at all. This arm is somehow even more restricted than this one. This one only has 360 degree rotation here, as well as a little bit of inward articulation there. Legs, well, first off, no waist articulation, no knee articulation. But legs can bend forward and backward that far. And that's all you're going to get out of the legs. That's all you're going to get out of the arms. And there's nothing in the head. And I also wanted to show this size comparison too in beast mode, but I forgot. But here is his trainee, I guess you want to call it. Backstop is Snarl's mentor, but this is Snarl, a deluxe class wolf from the Beast Planet, and then this is Scout class Rhino. Both of which are voiced by Scott McNeil, by the way, in the American dub. But yeah, when we do his video review next, you'll see what makes him so much more better than him. But this figure, this Backstop figure, is kinda bad, to be honest. I do enjoy playing with this one every once in a while, but just transforming back and forth, honestly. If I were to try to display him like in any poses or any action scenes, he's not gonna do much. He can't do much. Because also what articulation he does have, he's completely too top heavy to even use. That being said, if you want this figure in your collection, don't pay too much for it. Also, again, Cyber Key works great in one mode, absolutely useless in another mode. So, that being said, also no light piping. That being said, if you absolutely have to get this figure, if you're a completionist, a collection completionist, like I said, don't spend too much money on him. And if you are going to spend too much money, buy the Japanese Takara release instead. That figure has a little bit more paint applications to it. As you see here, the legs are gray, but the rest of the body is like this very off purple. Like very saturated down purple to where it's trying to be gray without being gray. And the Japanese release of this mold is a little bit more show accurate. It is almost entirely silver. Or not so much silver, but at least gray. So it's a bit better in that aspect. Also, we didn't even take a look at this side because it's completely pointless to look at it. Backstop, I want to like you so much, but it's hard. Honestly, this is one of... it's hard to... It's difficult for me to say this, but this is one of the worst Cybertron releases there is. And this entire toy line has just been at least above average. And way to make one figure kind of set the bar low. Is all I'm going to say. This figure is, just my personal opinion, one of, if not the worst figures in the Cybertron line. Honestly, between... It would be a toss-up between these two being the worst in the line. But Overhaul has... I like Overhaul's design a little bit. He has a lot more articulation, but some of his articulation doesn't work. And then he's got this giant chest section here with the missile launcher with the tail sticking way far out. That could have been handled a little bit better. And then the cyber key gimmick doesn't even work in his vehicle mode. But at least he's got light piping. And some decent articulation. This guy has some terrible articulation. A design that is just very lazy. And just... honestly, the only real fun I have in this thing is just transforming it back and forth because it's fast and easy to do. But honestly, if you knew me enough, fast and easy to do for a Transformer doesn't sell it for me. And if you want to get this figure for completion's sake, don't spend too much money on it. That's all I gotta say. It's not the best figure, and the more I try to sit here, look at it, and say it's not as bad, I keep thinking of more and more things that just make me feel like it's just no. But anyways, stop rambling here. This has been Ratchet Reviews. I hope you guys like this video review, and hopefully 15 years after this figure was released, if you're on the fence about getting this or not, I helped convince you which way you want to go. I hope you guys like this video review, and I'll see you next time.